Hello coaches and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name's David Newbury. I'm the e-learning coordinator for United Soccer Coaches, and this session today is on defensive pressure. The setup is 3 attacking players that are facing one defender that's approximately 5 to 10 yards from goal and a goalkeeper. And behind them, the 3 attackers, are 3 defenders that are ready to come on once the ball is played. And simply to begin with, we start with the ball in the center with the central attacker, and the central attacker will play the ball either to the left or to the right. The coach is on the sideline and has a large supply of balls, and the situation is essentially, to begin with, 3 attackers versus 1 defender and a goalkeeper. The central attacker does initiate the move, so with a pass to either one of the players on the side, or alternatively, the central attacker could just start to dribble the ball. And the 3 attackers start moving towards the goal. And the coach, as soon as that motion has been initiated, the coach will shout out 1, 2, or 3, which will then trigger 1, 2, or 3 defenders joining in to recover. So if the coach shouts 1, for example, it could be the central defender runs out. If the coach shouts 2, the central defender and the player on the right-hand side of that central defender will also come out. And the objective is for the attackers to score in the goal, and the defenders must try to win possession of the ball from the 3 attackers. In the second sequence, the movement has now progressed. The ball was passed out to the left-hand side, and now one of the attackers is starting to dribble inside towards the defender. And the things for us to work on defensively here are, 1, the first defender, the player going towards the ball, must apply pressure as far away from the goal as possible, but realizing that if they push too far forward, then they'll leave a big space in behind the defender and in front of the keeper. So we need to work with the defenders to determine how far forward they go, and we call this this process delayed pressure. Now, as this is happening, the recovering defender, and the coach here shouted 1, the recovering defender has to get back as quickly as possible, but works off the cues from the goalkeeper and also the first defender. So these 2 must communicate to the recovering defender as they run back. Now, we also can help the defenders by playing an offside line. So if you had an assistant, you might want to place them along the sidelines to make sure that the attackers don't move into an offside position. So some of the methodology that we will use here when we're working with the defender, the first defender and the goalkeeper, the first thing we're going to be communicating is try to press, try to win the ball, but also try to delay. So if you can't win the ball immediately, then try to delay to give your recovering defender time to get back. The other thing is we want the play to become predictable. And that means that we want to try and, if we can, isolate the player with the ball one-on-one. Now, that's obviously challenging, but as you can see here, the approach by the defender has been to try and show the player on the ball the line down the side and try to prevent that player coming inside or passing inside, because that's where, of course, the recovering defender is now trying to get back to provide some level of support. The keeper has a real important role in communication, and of course we want the keeper to be positioned so that a first-time shot into an empty net is not possible. And then lastly, in the third sequence, the recovering defender has managed to get back, and through communication with the keeper and the defender, the first defender has managed to get into a position where they can provide support or cover in the event that the ball is slipped inside, and having made that run, has intercepted the ball past the goalkeeper, and the transition for the defensive team is excellent, with the defender, the first defender, now moving into wide position to receive the pass from the goalkeeper. And as you can see, I have added small goals, so given the defenders a target for them once they've won possession. And that's really important in any type of practice, that you give both teams the opportunity to get a reward from their hard work. So how do we make this activity a little bit more challenging for the defenders? Well, certainly one thing we can do is increase the challenge is to create greater starting distance for the attackers. So we can move these markers further forward, and that will mean now that the defenders have further to recover and have to obviously move much quicker. And then we can also only include 1 or 2 defenders, not 3, in recovery. To make the activity more challenging, to decrease the challenge level, we could require the attackers to combine at least twice. So instead of dribbling straight from here and going to goal, we may bring in a condition that requires them to pass either left or right and then make one other combination before they score. And then we also can apply the pressure higher up the field. So we can bring this marker forward, and now the pressure starts much higher up the field, which means that the distance the recovery defender has to make is certainly less than if they have to chase 20 or 30 yards. So I appreciate your time, coaches. Thanks very much for joining us on Give and Go. And until next time, goodbye.